James Franco settles into his armchair, takes a slurp of black coffee and smiles. He looks pretty happy with his current lot. His new show, The Deuce, which was created by David Simon of The Wire fame and charts the rise of the porn industry in sleazy, early 1970s New York, is the most talked about and most universally acclaimed thing on TV at the moment. Franco, ever the prolific polymath, not only plays the leads of both Brooklyn-raised twin brothers Vincent and Frankie Martino, but executive produced the series and directed 2 of its 8 episodes. He is a key part of its instantaneous success, and he knows it. Franco is beefier in the flesh than you might expect. He fills out his form-fitting striped Breton sweater. He looks good, and also smells good, as he should, given that he is now the ruggedly best-doubled face of Coach for Men fragrance. He was also in the front row at the label's SS18 show. "In wearing it right now," he says, "it is a far cry from the first time he flogged fragrance." As a tearaway teenager growing up in the Bay Area tech town of Palo Alto, where his late father was a Silicon Valley entrepreneur and his mother is a writer, he got arrested, he says, for shoplifting designer aftershave from a department store. "I was the big cologne guy in junior high," he continues. "We were stealing it and selling it at school. I guess that was the last time I really wore fragrance." Cover James Franco photographed by Victor DeMarchilia. Styled by Jenny Kennedy. Coach coat, £2,050 jumper, £475 UK.coach.com. Trousers jam zone. That was a long while ago. Franco turns 40 next April. He's changed. He used, for example, to be relentless on social media, and enjoyed using it to post provocative selfies and manipulate the celebrity gossip machine, fueling speculation around his ambiguous sexuality as an actor. He enjoys playing gay characters. He released a volume of poetry last year called Straight James Gay James and said in an interview that he is gay up until the point of intercourse. He didn't have much of a filter and it occasionally backfired. In 2014, then aged 35, he was caught out trying to arrange a hotel hookup with a 17-year-old Scottish girl who had been to see his Broadway play, Of Mice and Men. But he has now deleted his accounts and says it's very liberating to rid himself of such a time suck. "It's a whole facet of one's public persona that I had obviously engaged with, thinking that it was a fun, facetious kind of thing, and realizing that it actually took up much more space in my life, in my mind, just in my total bandwidth." Streetwise Maggie Gyllenhaal shines in Sky Atlantic drama The Deuce. His upcoming landmark birthday, though, feels like more of a milestone than a milestone. "I guess it's called a midlife crisis," he says. "I've certainly hit a wall this past year. It's not like I went out and had to buy a Ferrari or anything like that. It was more about reprioritizing and figuring out what was meaningful. I've been known as a guy that just did a lot of things. I already went through a lot of the phases I think people go through in their midlife crisis. So for me it was really about cutting back and focusing, and figuring out what I really wanted to spend my time on." Coach jumper, £475 UK.coach.com. A guy that just did a lot of things is a good way of describing him. Since dropping out of UCLA to pursue acting, his parents cut him off financially, so he took a job at a drive-thru McDonald's where he would practice different accents on customers, and getting his big break. Judd Apatow cast him in cult teen series Freaks and Geeks alongside partner in crime Tobe, Seth Rogen. Franco hasn't stopped. The Deuce, for example, is not his first foray into the world of sleaze. It's not even his second. I've done a few projects involved with the porn industry," he says, as if this has just occurred to him. Last year he played the role of an unhinged gay porn producer in King Cobra. And in a 2013 biopic about legendary porn star Linda Lovelace, he portrayed the recently deceased Playboy founder Hugh Hefner. "I met him at a tribute to George Clooney," says Franco. "I don't know why I was there, I hardly know George Clooney. Hef had his own table with a bunch of playmates. I knew one of them, so I was like, Heyyyy, and she was kind of like, sotto voce, go away, Hef's going to get angry. I didn't realize I wasn't supposed to talk to her. He just sort of gave me a dirty look." Boss New Hit The Deuce is the TV event of autumn. A sense of mischief has often characterized his work, with sometimes serious consequences. There was, of course, The Interview, the comedy he made with Seth Rogen, in which he plays a journalist who manages to score an interview with Kim Jong-un and is then co-opted by the CIA in a plot to assassinate the North Korean dictator. The film resulted in a hack of Sony Pictures, where thousands of private emails between A-list stars and big-name producers and execs were leaked to the world. It was a tiny taste of the havoc that North Korea is capable of instigating. Fast forward a couple of years and we are now living the real-life sequel in which his Dave Skylark character is reprised by imbecilic TV host Donald Trump. And Dennis Rodman chimes in Franco. It's pretty terrifying that the US's nuclear codes are in the famously small hands of the current president. Yeah, I'll say, does Franco think we're on the precipice of all-out war? One don't know. I don't know, he squirms as a publicist suddenly moves into my eyeline. We made our movie. I don't know how much more people want to hear on my take on North Korea. Coat £1,595 UK.coach.com. Burberry t-shirt £150 UK.burberry.com. Stella McCartney trousers £290 StellaMcCartney.com. These movies are but a couple in his back catalogue. Franco has been acting full tilt, non-stop for 20 years and has a reputation for his frenetic energy and scattergun output, not all of it good. A lot of movie stars take a one-for-me approach. In other words, they do a job for the money so that they can then work on a project for the love. But as Jonah Hill put it in Comedy Central's roast of James Franco, James has his own philosophy: one for them, five for nobody. In fact, Franco currently has no fewer than 14 different acting projects listed on IMDb at varying stages of completion, plus a further 15 as a producer or executive producer, 4 as a director and 4 as writer, admittedly with some overlap. And this is before we get to his poetry, painting and photography. He is known for writing novels and screenplays in green rooms between scenes. He reads books voraciously, often switching between 2 at a time, and always has several on option, a backlog of stories he wants to turn into movies. He's also usually teaching students at 2 or 3 different universities and studying himself at 2 or 3 more, flying back and forth for classes. Franco himself has a reported 7 degrees at the latest count. By his own admission, he spreads himself too thinly, which has made it impossible to sustain the quality of work that earned him a deserved Oscar nomination for 127 Hours in 2011. He almost didn't get the parts on the Deuce because its creator, David Simon, was genuinely concerned that Franco lacked focus and would be too easily distracted, but having hit a crisis point this past year, he is now facing up to being a recovering workaholic. He's not using the term blithely. He really means it. He says he is dangerously addicted to work. He has buried himself in it for 2 decades. It has cost him relationships, friendships, a sense of equilibrium. Workaholicism is a huge thing, and one of the problems is that it's really hard to see, because hard work is applauded in our culture. As it should be, but I think there's also a line, a very thin line, that I crossed over where there were diminishing returns on the amount of work I was putting in, he says. It was just busy work after a while, an escape rather than discipline that was adding up to better work. Coach jacket, £1,250, jumper, £475, necklace, poauk.coach.com. In addition, he has also given up porn. I used to watch a lot of porn when I was younger, but I actually do not watch it now. I watched it up until a year ago. And he is taking a break from all but teaching and studying, clearing out the backlog of projects. Everything that I have that's on IMDb is from at least a year ago, if not more, he explains. I was teaching at 3 or 4 schools, so a lot of those things are my graduate students' projects that I was helping get off the ground. I haven't taught in over a year. The biggest change in his life is that, since rapping on the Deuce last October, he has hardly worked. I really only acted 2 weeks this whole year, in a Coen Brothers movie, actually a 6-episode Western series called The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Franco credits his younger brother, Dave 32, also an actor, with helping him temper his artistic recklessness and at last discover a more sustainable approach to work, that it is better to focus on doing a few things well than pinball between umpteen projects and have to dash them off and hope for the best. The Francos have now formed their own production company, Ramona Films, and their first project, The Disaster Artist, based on the So Bad It's Good movie The Room, is due for release in December. Coach jacket, £995, necklace, poauk.coach.com. Burberry t-shirt, £150 UK.burberry.com. It is generating early awards buzz after premiering to rave reviews at SXSW Festival earlier this year. Big Brother isn't exactly putting his feet up, he directed it and plays the lead. What about a relationship? Is Franco dating? Yeah. He smiles. How long? 4 months. He won't reveal with whom, but he has been papped recently with an Labus TV publicist called Isabel Paxard. He masterfully swerves further, probing on the subject by launching into a rambling pseudo-intellectual analogy about what it's like when you find the right person, something to do with a big O and a triangle and a missing piece, it doesn't matter, which swallows up the last 60 seconds of our interview, and then, wearing the Hollywood actor's cunning disguise of a baseball cap, HES off, headed back up to the bright lights of Times Square to see a show, though a rather more highbrow one than those depicted in The Deuce. I'm going to see 1984 on Broadway, he says. I've heard mixed reviews. Quite possibly. But at least his own are now on the up and up. James Franco is the face of Coach for Men fragrance. Available now.